Ready and racing.
Welcome to the Dogcast for Greyhound Racing SA. Visit grsa.com.au.
Welcome to the latest edition of the Dogcast, brought to you by Greyhound Racing SA. I'm your host, Brenton Yates, and as always, ably joined by Greyhound Racing SA's racing manager, Shaun Mathieson, who's with us for today's episode. And Matho, we're only a matter of weeks away from the big one, Friday, October 6th, the Adelaide Cup. And we're coming off the back of a big week last week with the Oaks and Derby final.
Oh, definitely. Great time of racing in SA. And we've got a show going every week, effectively, for all of our feature races. You spoke about the Oaks and Derby. We'll review those. Match race series this Thursday night. And then, as you mentioned, leading into the heats of the Cup, the Cup final itself on the 6th of October at Group 1 level. It's really heading to a really nice place, I reckon. So
the match race series, which, as you mentioned, we'll touch on, but the winner of that series gets automatic entry into the Adelaide Cup final.
Yeah, most definitely. A great initiative that we introduced a few years ago, basically because the $1 Million Chase landed on the Adelaide Cup in their wisdom. And so we've introduced, and it's been a terrific promotable event for us. But yeah, the winner of the Adelaide, winner of the match race series, fastest time, goes straight in, bypasses the heats, and is there waiting in the Group 1, waiting for the other dogs to qualify.
Well, no doubt, pretty difficult assignment to try and get them all in as well. I see a Fire wasn't able to gain its spot in the big final as well.
Yeah, very hard, and we'll probably touch on that a little bit later when we go through the field. But the quality of nominations from interstate was amazing. We opened it up to All-Stars, so we got dogs from Tasmania, Queensland and Victoria. Really happy with the nominations, but you know, the dogs that are in, we're really happy with the dogs that we're in. A Fire's extremely unlucky not to be in. But that's a selection process. That's going to happen. And so, yeah, I mean, it's going to be a wonderful series. I mean, hopefully they do well. They're racing on Thursday night and they'll go into the heat. So hopefully for them, they do really well. But yeah, the selection process is the process, really.
All right, terrific stuff. So we've got all that to come. After the break, we'll review the Oaks and Derby final from last week.
The Week in Review.
Our Week in Review is brought to you by Fresh Pet Food Co., proud suppliers of fresh pet food for our GAP SA Greyhounds in the GAP prison programs. They're based right here in South Australia, so visit their website, Matho, freshpetfood.com. That's freshpetfoodco.com.au for more information. A couple of big finals on Thursday night, and we'll get underway with the first of them. Race 6 was the Oaks, and a local victory and a terrific win for Kieran Corby with Where's Poppy.
Oh, most definitely. A wonderful South Australian victory, Group 3 level. The Oaks, it's a race she hasn't won, so a great win for her. Where's Poppy? We spoke on the show last week, Yatesy, that she looked the speed in the race. She looked clearly the speed in the race, and to some degree, that's how it played out. We also spoke about Mapunga Surprise out of the one, that you'd expect it to have begun a lot better because it was so short in the market, and it was supported as well, Yatesy, before the race. So, virtually the race panned out. Mapunga Surprise actually began quite well, but the crowding came for it, which again we touched on last week. And Where's Poppy was able to cross the whole field. Mapunga Surprise found trouble and found bad interference, falling in the race, and then the race was there for Where's Poppy. She was able to break away. She ran time up in the lead, 30.58. Both Weblek, Jewel and Purified did well to hang on for the placings. Zipping Mahalia got home late, but there was interference on the first turn. So, I mean, a lot of the dogs in behind were affected by that. And Where's Poppy got clear running and ultimately was able to win the prize.
Yeah, and I think that's the key. I mean, Greyhound racing in front, I mean, it's where you want to be. And we saw it once again in a big final, on the lead, out of the trouble, the scramble in behind, and Where's Poppy was away and gone. So, terrific win for Kieran Corby. And Where's Poppy? I sort of wonder where it'll go to now.
Yeah, well, I think she's going to target the Adelaide Cup. I do think that it's a big rise in class to go from the Oaks to the Adelaide Cup, but she has that early speed, Yatesy, which is going to, lead most races. A 5:20 dog, so she certainly, as long as she's come up well from the Oaks and all of that, I think that's where she'll head, and it'll be exciting to see her in the series. Just touching on Mapunga Surprise, was vetted afterwards, was fine afterwards, which was good news for the Britons. But yeah, I mean, we've seen history has shown that Oaks winners and Derby winners can go on and win the Adelaide Cup.
Was she a consideration for the match race series?
She wasn't nominated, so it was a nominated event. So it's free to nominate, and then we assess who's SA and who's interstate.
Yep.
But she wasn't nominated, so that was them choosing not to that, looking at another path.
One that was nominated was the winner of the Derby,
Yes.
Schillaci. So we were looking at this going into the race. It looked as though it was a bit of a match race between Schillaci and Mapunga Smoky. And boy, didn't we see something special with Schillaci running 30 seconds flat?
We did. I mean, we heard it in your call, Yatesy, as well. I mean, he improved from the week before. He was sensational the week before in the heats. He improved again. He led easily, to be fair to the winning post. A 5:13 to the first turn.
What about the 17:28 to the back?
That's a record, Yates.
Yeah.
I don't. Any dog has gone faster than that on the redeveloped Angle Park from a few years ago. Wow, she's fast. When she was in the match race series last year, I think it's the greyhound that has gone closest down the back. She went about 17:37.
Right.
So he's point
Length
0.09
and a half.
in front of that. Yeah. So he flew down the back. He opened them up. To be fair, the dogs chasing, which was Departed, Weblake Wolf, and also Mapunga Smoky, they did a good job to hang on. I mean, they all ran 30, 30, 30, 40, which was a great performance. And take Schillaci out of the race, that's, you're winning that race. But, full credit to him. He just exploded away from them down the back. Ran 30 dead. He's the 5th fastest dog, again, to go around Angle Park. There's only 4 dogs in the history of the redevelopment who've gone faster, broken the magical, I suppose, 30-second mark. It was interesting on the semaphore board. It came up 29.9.
It did, yeah.
And they're going on. We're going to get another one,
Yeah.
and it ticked over to 30 seconds. But brilliant win, and we spoke about him. He'll be there in the match race, which we'll preview. And it was just the times the dogs run, Group 3 winner. He just had to go into the series.
And it's an interesting point you make about the place getters, like their personal runs would have gone close, you would think, in general circumstances to be winning that race. Schillaci was just gone to another level, as we even spoke about last week. These greyhounds at this age group, they can progress and then improve, and I think Schillaci certainly did that after seeing the track and going into the big final.
Yeah, I think before the series, if you said they're going to run 30-30 and they'll go, well, that wins the Derby, but it doesn't. You run second running that time. But yeah, I mean, the dog looks to be thriving with the travel and SA racing at Angle Park. He's loving it. He's brought his time down by 0.5 of a second from his first trial. That's an amazing drop in performance, and he's so young. So, I mean, exciting for Talgi and the connections there. So, onwards and upwards with him.
Well, we'll have a chat to Jihad Talgi. He'll be joining us directly after this, actually, before we preview the big night on Thursday.
Yeah, and I'll be interested to get his thoughts. I mean, he's also a huge Collingwood fan as well, Yatesy.
Okay.
So maybe touch on a little bit there. I'm sure he's pretty excited at the moment for a lot of things.
Yeah, absolutely. So that was the review. Thursday night, we had the Oaks and Derby final.
The interview.
Oh, well, Matho, we've got a very special guest about to join us on the show, Jihad Talgi, who trains Schillaci, loves to be known as Talgi, so we'll refer to the great man in that way through this interview. But what a great thrill for him last Thursday night, taking out the Derby and also going forward into the match race this Thursday night with Schillaci.
Yeah, no, great to have him on the show, and I'm really excited to hear what he's going to say about Schillaci and the way it's progressing, and really looking forward to Thursday night. I know he's excited by it to be in a series like this, and obviously the Derby performance, so it's great to get him on the line.
Well, we've got him on the line now. Talgi, thanks for joining us on the Dogcast.
Yeah, thanks, guys. Thanks for having me.
Now, mate, what a great thrill for you last week. Take us through your feelings and emotions after the race in what was an absolutely dominant display.
Look, it was a great thrill. It was really, really good thrill, and I was a bit nervous before the race because when you're favourite, the pressure's there, and that really like to perform and that. And he come out and did what he did. I was just absolutely excited. Yeah.
Oh, well, Talgi, I mean, obviously when he drew one, obviously with the box draw coming out, you say a bit nervous, but reasonably confident, and he really lit him up, didn't he? He was able to lead to the first turn, and then that acceleration, which I know he's sort of been spoken about, that is sort of his sort of second section, if you like, is possibly his best, but he lit it up down the back, and he went off the back straight in a faster time than any other dog has gone around the redeveloped Angle Park, which has been in use for a couple of years now. Off the back straight, what were you thinking? Were you still a bit nervous, or were you sort of a bit more comfortable?
No, I was still nervous because, as you know, Shaun, things can go wrong in a race, you know, like an injury can occur or whatever. But inside me, I was just going, keep going, boy, keep going, you know. and coming around the home turn, when I seen he was 5 in front and nothing was making ground on him, I thought to myself, just relax and just enjoy now, you know. And yeah, and that's what happened.
Talgi, what's your history in greyhound racing? What's your background, and how did you come to be involved with Schillaci?
Okay. I've been in dogs for about 25 years.
Yep.
Glenn Rounds and I are real good mates. We played footy together when we were young, and I've known Glenn for 35 years, and Glenn was a greyhound trainer back then. And then just one day I approached him and said, look, your cousin and I want to get a greyhound, and we ended up buying one off him, and he ended up training for us called Culver City. That was our first dog. And then the love and passion for the sport just grew. And then, eventually I bought my own property because I was getting dogs reared by other people, pre-trained by other people, and getting trainers to train them. And then, yeah, like I said, the passion just grew more and more, and I bought my own property and then started doing it myself. And then in the end, I thought, well, I might as well learn how to train them, and I did, and started training for myself, and the results have been good, and we've had some decent dogs, but nothing like Schillaci. And then, Schillaci comes along, and yeah, it's just a great thrill. I ended up going to Hardstyle Rico because of good mates of Lucky Turbasakos, who holds the dog at stud, and he owns the dog. And I said to him that I want to go to the pitch with him, and he said, well, I'll have a look. And he rang up Dave Brash and got a mating to see how the mating would be. And Dave Brash said to him, look, Fabregas pitches to Hardstyle Rico is just, unbelievable. So we went with it, and Lucky whelped down the litter, and yeah, helped me out a lot. And the rest is history. We've got Schillaci out of it,
Well, Talgi, he's on the fast track, and I know we spoke before the Derby win about the match race series. You're sort of looking at the options available for him, and being so young, and the way he's been progressing. It was in your plans, but wasn't necessarily in the plans. But obviously that changed a little bit after his wonderful performance on Thursday night, running 30 seconds dead. Not many dogs have ever gone that fast. And then probably looking at that opportunity to get him through to the Adelaide Cup final and bypass the heats if he runs the fastest time.
Well, to be honest with you, yeah, you're right, Shaun. You're really right. Like I didn't want to go. Like we come up and trialled, 3 weeks ago, and then we come back to the heats, and then we come back to the final, and then I thought to myself, I've come back to the match race. There's another week, and then if he doesn't progress, then I've got to go through the heat. So basically, going up 5 weeks in a row to Adelaide driving there, and I didn't want to put him through that. But then after what he did the other night, I just thought it'd be ridiculous not to come back and go into match races, because you're only up against one dog. And if you come back for the heat, you're up against, 5, 6, 7 dogs, whatever it is. It'd be a lot harder. So we just thought we'd just go to the match race, and hopefully things pan out, and then he can go into the final if he runs the quickest. And then he's got 2 weeks to recover and come back for the final if he happens to make it.
Talgi, it was fascinating listening to your story around greyhound racing, the length of time you've been involved, and the transitional phases that you've sort of undergone right through there, from owning to sort of rearing to then training to now having a top liner. And it would be such a learning pathway all the way through, and you're at another level now. So how are you dealing with that? Is it any different to have one at this sort of level? Do you worry a bit more? Do you think you need to do something different, or do you just keep it the same?
You keep it the same, Brendan. You never change nothing that's not broken. You don't fix something that's not broken. You keep it the same. Like the same routine from last week to the week before to this week's been the same. I took him down the beach last week for a walk through the water. I've given him one one hand slip, which is a 400-metre straight track, one run up there. Like this morning, he's been down the beach this morning for a walk through the water. Tomorrow he'll get checked and we'll drive up on Thursday. But you got to keep it the same way. If you keep changing things, then the dog gets confused. But yeah, it's better to keep it the same every week, same routine, and things hopefully pan out to the way you want them.
Now, Talgi, on Thursday night, you're in the third match, I suppose. So you'll get an indication through the first two matches around what sort of time Schillaci you'd want him to be running to obviously book your spot, bearing in mind there's another match race after yours. You've got FINNISS Jewel for Ryan Tugwell, who's drawn the inside. You're drawn the 3 or the outside. Probably most judges would say you'll be leading, but FINNISS Jewel is a strong greyhound on the way home. Have you had a chance to look at your match and then also look at the series and who do you think might be, from your point of view, the dogs to beat?
I have looked at FINNISS Jewel's form, and I noticed that he is a little bit slow out of boxes, which is going to help me, and hopefully he puts a break on where the other dog doesn't make up ground, because I noticed he's been running over the 600-700 metres races, and obviously he's a strong dog doing that. So, but look, the main danger is obviously Jason Thompson coming up with transponder and Cal Bruno's coming up with big energy. They're the danger. If they get on the bun, who knows what they could run, But end of the day, my dog's proven that he can run the times that they can run. Well, they haven't run it yet, but he can run the times that needs to be up there with the top dogs. So, yeah.
Is there more improvement in him, Talgi? He's been here. He's gone, I think it was from 30-40, Shaun was saying on our program a bit earlier, down to 30 seconds in a few looks at Angle Park. He doesn't necessarily probably need to go any quicker, but do you feel there's something else there?
Time will tell on Thursday, I suppose. The thing is, I just hope that the travelling 3 weeks in a row is not going to affect him.
Right.
That's all I hope.
Yeah.
If he happens to travel well, because the dog is feeling still well, like he was last week, and going down the beach this morning, he just loves the water, he's jumping around in the water and carrying on. But yeah, just look, being a young dog, he's only 2 years and 3 months. The travelling to Adelaide 3 weeks in a row, I just hope it doesn't take it out. That's all.
But you're not seeing any signs of that as we speak?
No.
Yeah.
No. He's still feeling real good. And like I said, he'll get checked tomorrow. A good friend of mine who checks the dogs for me does a great job. And if it wasn't for him, I always say to him, you're only as good as your checker. He does a great job with the dog, and that's why the dog's going so good.
Talgi, I hear whispers as well that you're a Mad Pies man. Is that right? How are they going to go this week?
Look, I'm probably nervous like I was last week in the Derby, Brenton. Like GWS are a young and upcoming side, and they're playing real good footy. And I just hope it's not a repeat of 2019 when we played them in the prelim and they beat us by 3 points. But look, all being equal, we get Dacos back. We lose Taylor Adams with a hamstring, but we get Dacos back, and hopefully that'll be hold us in good stead, and the boys can do the job.
Well, Talgi, we really appreciate your time. You've certainly thrown a big spark into our spring chasing carnival with Schillaci. He's been an absolute star, and let's hope that continues for you over the next few weeks. Thanks for joining us on the Dogcast.
No worries, Brendan. I really appreciate it, and I love coming up and racing there. It's been a real good thrill, and the people at the track and everyone there has really come around and starting to like the dog. Even people are coming up to me and saying, "Oh, we're really wrapped that you won, and we love the dog, and we've seen his form." It's going really good. So I'm really happy that there's a bit of excitement in the air, as they say.
Yeah, there certainly is, mate. Congratulations, well done, and best of luck for Thursday night.
Thanks, guys. Thank you.
There he is, Talgi Matho, trainer of Schillaci.
As you mentioned, real spanner into our carnival. A wonderful spanner as well.
Yeah.
He's been a great addition to this.
He's been the star, is what he's been.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I mean, who knows where this ride will end for him in SA, and then who knows where he'll go on the national racing scene. So good luck to Talgi, and good luck to all the greyhounds on Thursday night.
Up next, we'll preview the big match race series on Thursday night.
The Preview.
Time now for our preview. It's brought to you by the 2023 Adelaide Cup. You can join us trackside on Friday, the 6th of October, for the 2023 TAB Adelaide Cup. There'll be plenty happening there, Matho. There'll be live music, a lot of kids stuff, entertainment, a lot more. For more information, the hospitality packages, you can visit greyhoundracingsa.com.au. And I have jumped on and had a bit of a look, Matho.
Yeah?
Yeah, there's a few options, obviously, that are going around. You've got the Chasers restaurant, so you can book in there for $90, which is get around, have a good feed, and you're in a prime position to be able to view the track.
Absolutely.
A little bit more, but sort of you get your own exclusive little area. You've got the Byron Bay, what have they called it? Just the Byron Bay sort of section, I guess, where you relax and you get a beverage package while you're up there, and that looks to be the go. Yeah,
just trying a few different experiences for people who want to come to the Adelaide Cup and have that different experience at the Greyhounds.
And if you want one outside, there's the West End sort of garden area where they're going to have it out there. You'll be able to get access to the track and be close to the action.
Be nice and close.
And watch it all happen. And that's a little bit cheaper again, where you get a few drinks for the night, I think, and access to some food that are in the food trucks and all that. So there's an experience for everyone that wants to come along on that Friday and get involved.
Absolutely. And if you just want to come along and just enjoy the night, come along as well. But we just thought this year we'd try a few different options for different people who want to come along. The racing itself is going to be brilliant, Yatesy. We know it's daylight saving. It's going to be nice weather. The way the weather's heading, hopefully it's going to be nice.
Yeah.
But just some different options and possibly what we've done in the past. So just trying to attract different crowds and who want to get a different experience at the Greyhounds.
Okay, the match race series. So this is really important for those Greyhounds who are trying to get a berth into the Adelaide Cup without having to compete in the heats next week. The quickest will go through. So that's the winner of the match race overall time-wise, gets access into the final. How do you go about putting the field together? How does that work?
Yeah, so as we touched on earlier, it's a nominated event, so we get the nomination, so no one's invited as such. It's and it's pretty hard, to be fair, for some of the participants, particularly the interstate Greyhounds, because of where, as we've mentioned, the $1 Million Chase, where it takes up about 6 or 7 weeks. And so some of the participants may be going there, may not be going there. And so it's a nominated event. So what we get is what we end up getting, and we're wrapped with the nominations we got for both South Australia and the All-Stars. And so then ultimately the grader goes through the nominations and then effectively selects his 4 dogs, the reserves, and then ultimately rates the 4 dogs from SA and interstate based on a number of things: times, performance, quite a number of things, race records, all that sort of stuff. And then ultimately he's got the 1, 2, 3, 4 for SA, 1, 2, 3, 4 for the All-Stars, and then the 1 dog for SA matches up against the 1 dog for the All-Stars, and then 2 and 2, 3 and 3, 4 and 4, and that's how it's formatted. There's different prize money levels as well. So the highest rated dogs are greater rewarded because they're rated high. You're going against what's considered better opposition. And then the field is put together. Now, the way the final field is put together doesn't necessarily reflect on who's the top rated dogs or anything like that.
Okay.
It's just where we sort of structure the races based on the matchups, the vision that we've got. Some race are on Sky 1, some are on Sky 2. And how we, just how it's laid out effectively. So, a fair bit of work goes into it. I mean, a lot of time and effort. As mentioned, we absolutely love the support that we get from the locals to go into this series, and also from the interstate dogs. It's taken on a whole new level with that carrot to get into the Group 1 final. We were the first to do that in greyhound racing, to offer up a spot in a Group 1 race. But, we had to do that because the $1 Million Chase and that type of race attracts a lot of dogs away from our premier event. We only have one Group 1 race in South Australia. It's a really marketable event, and we love getting the best of the locals and the best from around Australia, and it had some effect initially. But we've made the changes to the conditions, and I think we've got a wonderful lineup, matched anywhere in Australia. and our Group 1 series will be strong and exciting. So, I mean, this is the first part of it, I suppose.
Okay, so let's run through the match races. You can take us through these. So the match race number 1 will be Transponder against Could Be King. Yep. This will be on Sky 1.
Yep.
And they go from boxes 1 and 3?
1 and 3.
Yep. Okay, so Transponder 1, Could Be King in box 3.
Yeah.
So are these the top raters?
They were the top raters on how we rated them for the series. Both have wonderful records. Transponder, has won 160,000 in stake money. Won, I think, the Pink Diamond feature sprint race at Warragul. It's got an amazing record. I mean, he's 34 starts, 18 wins. Goes good from an inside draw, though he's a dog that does like to get off the track a little bit.
Yep.
And then you've got the South Australian Could Be King. And Yates, we know what a terrific dog he is. The less dogs in the race, to be fair.
Yes.
He can run time. He's won a match race series. He won the E-Star match race back in April.
Yep.
Here, 30.45. He ran 30.35 in a heat of the National Sprint SA division.
Yep.
So he's got the times on the board. He's a feature winner with the Gawler Produce. He won't mind outside a little bit. But it'll be interesting to the first turn. In looking at this first match race, how did you sort of line it up?
Well, look, I guess the worry is Could Be King giving away a start to Transponder, who's got a strong motor, really. Like, that's the issue for me. Would 30.35 get it done? I mean, I'm not sure. That's as good as Could Be King can go. And that admittedly was in a full fielded race. The 30.45 was in the E-Star Challenge, and that was the best we'd seen him go to that point. Has he got some more improvement there? Possibly. He'd probably need it to be able to beat Transponder in this particular setup, but my main concern was he'd be giving away a start.
Yeah, I mean, he'll give away a start, but I mean, he does like to close ground quickly. We've seen it before, and you'll sort of probably know early in the match race how he gets through that past the winning post towards the catching pen. He really gets motoring through that part, and that sort of takes him into the back straight. And so I think you probably think Transponder probably leads, and Could Be King, I think if he's close enough, has the option, because I think Transponder will get off a little bit.
Yep.
The run will be there. It's Transponder's first look at Angle Park as well. So that might be a little bit in Could Be King's favour.
Yep.
But I do think, Transponder has the record on the board and is very strong and was rated number 1 for a reason for the All-Stars. Could Be King, again, I think he's considered our best chance in the series, but he'll need to be at his absolute best.
What about the next setup? We've got Panama Pepper, the Queenslander, up against the Kings and Queens winner FIORANO for Brenda Oakey. Where did this pair rate?
Yeah, well, so they were rated the third pair. So Panama Pepper number 3, FIORANO number 3 for SA. We're excited to have a Queensland dog, obviously, in the series.
Yep.
But Panama Pepper's form through Queensland, won 3 races in Queensland. It had travelled around a little bit, but it's been in all feature races wherever he's gone. He's been to WA, he's been to Victoria, Queensland. He won a heat of the Brisbane Cup. He won a prelude of the Brisbane Cup. He also won the consolation of the Brisbane Cup as well. He's run 29.56 around Albion Park, and he's an absolute flyer from an inside draw.
Yep.
He's won 7 of 8, drawn 1.
Yep.
Now, of course, it's only one other dog in this race, but he has drawn the inside. So he's where he wants to be. He's now in the care of Ben Rawlings. He's been here for a couple of weeks.
So we haven't seen him time trial, though, under a steward's watch.
No.
So you're saying on a Saturday morning he might have had a look?
Yeah.
And FIORANO, who's been in great racing form, has won 5 or 6 over this track and trip, has good speed to get out and maybe lead. I accept what you say. Panama off the inside can really begin, but... he's got to give a sight for himself, I think, FIORANO.
Yeah, I think so. Brenda Oakey's done a wonderful job with this greyhound since it's come to South Australia, won 7 of 9 races. Best of the night, I think she was talking about every win that he's had has been best of the night.
Yep.
He's got early speed. He can run time in front. He's a 30.50 dog at Angle Park. He's gone 30.45 at Gawler, which is just a tick outside the track record. So, And he has that early speed. So, I mean, I think this will be the most interesting run probably to the first turn, Yatesy, that I think probably whoever leads is going to have the upper hand here.
Yep.
So, for SA's point, hopefully FIORANO can cross Panama Pepper. The All-Stars, obviously, with Panama Pepper, I'd hope it can kick up. But it's probably possibly going to be the closest in betting, which there's no odds out for each match race, but probably the closest in betting for the series.
What about the next one? FINNISS Duel up against the Derby winner, Schillaci.
Yeah, so these were rated fourth, and
right.
It's not necessarily a reflection on it's just where they rated in comparison to the other dogs. FINNISS Duel, she's on a real big step up in class, but for Ryan and Lauren, this is the sort of stuff they love. They love these opportunities into these series, and I know they were really happy to get into the series, which we appreciated. She got beaten at Gawler last start over 6:43, missed the kick, flashed home. She's gone 30-39 at Angle Park. That was on a Monday night, and she has drawn the inside. She hasn't come from the inside before, so it'll be interesting to see how she gets out. She's obviously going to have to get out amazingly well to try and keep onto the back of Schillaci. Schillaci was rated 4, and that's purely because he elevated himself into the series on his Derby performance, really, running 30 seconds. The time he ran was amazing. He got himself into the series, but just to get into the series, we had to put him in. So he went in at 4, and obviously he's probably going to lead. He's probably going to run time, and so then it's really a matter of how far away FINNISS Duel is, probably off the back straight, because she is strong at the end. So she will hopefully be closing ground. And if you take a little bit of a line, Yatesy, through the Derby series, those Derby dogs got carried with Schillaci to run really good time. They're sort of their best times. I'm maybe thinking FINNISS Duel could do that.
Okay, well, she's going to have to find a few lengths to get past Schillaci. I think he's probably the favourite for the match race series, in my view.
Yep.
Given he's been here and done it, we haven't seen Transponder come here and do it. So the time for me for the Red Runner is going to be a little bit of a concern. So we do see the switch in boxes here. The South Australians go to the inside and the interstate greyhounds go to the outside. That's not going to pose too much of an issue for Schillaci. He pushed over, from a wide draw in the heats of the Derby, and then in the final drew box 1, booted up and led. Look, I see him being the one to beat. I think he can win his way through to the Adelaide Cup. I think he could go sub 30. Okay. I think he's absolutely the one to beat, and I've been nothing but impressed by what he's been able to bring to Adelaide and do. So I think he'll be winning that one. But look, Ryan's having a great run with FINNISS Duel, no doubt about it.
I mean, it's on times, FINNISS Duel has to find a fair bit, absolutely. And I think they're aware of that. They love being part of the series, and she'll give a bold account of herself. She knows, she's one of my favourites, Yatesy,
yes.
And she is. She's a dog, I think that she likes to get into a battle. So, this will be her toughest battle.
What about the last match race? So Dasher Blue and Big Energy. So these were the second-rated group. So Dasher Blue, who's been going fantastically for Richard Pearce, last start winner over the 595. All of his recent runs have been over that trip, and he's been winning.
Yep.
And Big Energy, who we have seen here at Angle Park, trialled in 30:42 the other night.
Yeah, it's going to round out a wonderful series. And, who knows what time these dogs will be chasing at that point. Dasher Blue's got the inside for Richard Pearce, as you mentioned, super strong middle distance dog. But we've seen this dog also run 30-50 Angle Park, gone quick at Gawler, won the North versus South Challenge. And I looked at his red box draw. He's 7 of 7.
7 from 7.
From the inside.
Yep.
That's got to give them the team a little bit of confidence. Big Energy for Jackie Greeno. The 30-42 trial last week was nice and solid. Probably expect some improvement there. So you'd expect some time to run. And Big Energy is a dog that can run time. As I mentioned, it's a sub 29 second dog at Sandown. There's only a handful of dogs have ever broken 29 seconds there. I do think he likes... This format will suit him, to be fair. I mean, he probably likes a fair bit his own way. So he'll be wanting to lead. And if Dasher Blue can show enough speed, that could be a bit of an issue. But Big Energy's got a big motor, so yeah.
Yeah, it probably turns out to be that way. I mean, Dasher Blue the races that he has been able to lead from the inside, he's generally been nice and fresh, particularly in that North v South series. He was able to burn through and get it done there. And I'm just not sure he'll be up to this class of the pink runner. But, look, I think the South Australians are going to do it a little bit tough in this particular match race series, but you never know. Greyhound racing is a funny thing, and we have seen historically a lot of these shorties have been knocked over in the match race series in the past.
It can happen, absolutely. Greyhound racing throws up many different results. I don't think it's a fait accompli. However, on paper, I think the All-Stars have the edge through the series for sure.
What about best bets, Matho? So Thursday night, what are you putting the star next to? How'd you go last week, by the way? Any good?
Bit unlucky last week.
Okay.
Chairman just didn't do it for the Dogcast followers.
Yep.
However, they can jump back on board this week, Yatesy.
Okay,
so,
that's good news for them. What do you got?
So I actually got two.
Okay.
So I'm going to do a little bit of yours, just a bit of backup, just in case one goes down. So we're going to go with race 9, number 5, Magical Mystique for Bosco Stamenkovic, coming out of the Oaks final.
Yeah.
Has run the time to be really competitive in this race. I probably expect her to be favourite. It's not an overly strong grade 6. So I expect her to improve from box 5. Or don't have to improve too much to be fair, but I think she'll be winning. And if you want to just multi them up, Yatesy, just get a bigger collect. Race 11, number 6, Winburn Honey for Ben England. Obviously, we spoke to Ryan last week in the care of Ryan. She was in the Oaks final, didn't have a lot of luck there, ran home really well, a heat winner the start before. She steps up to 5.95. Just looks like that's going to suit her down to the ground. So they will be my 2 best on Thursday night.
Yeah, well, I like Winburn Honey as well, Matho, so I'm with you there. But I think there's one earlier on in the program. It's had just one start. Texas Ear.
Wow, okay.
Now, this was well backed. It had very good market support. It drew 7 and it just wanted the fence. Absolutely hard for the rail. He gets that here, box 1. So I'm going to go with a bit of unknown because Cam Butcher's got a first starter in the race, so you've always got to be wary of those Coorong Lucy dogs. So it was my other best of the night. A bit of a speculative play there, Matho.
And I think he's owned by Tex Walker,
I
is
think
that right?
Tex has got an interest, yeah. He has actually. So
for your footy connections, Yatesy, any word from him about how it's going?
Does that come up in
conversation?
No, I haven't asked him, but I think it'd be named after the right ear, wouldn't it?
I think so.
He's just missing a bit of cartilage in that one, apparently, the Texan. So that's the reason it's out there. But Texas ear, so well named. Race 2, number 1. So that's my other best bet for the program. It's a massive night, Matho, Thursday night. So look forward to seeing everyone there as we build up to the Adelaide Cup on the 6th of October.